Welcome, Lancer Regiment 2020 Percussion. I'm Preston Kellenberger, one of the two section leaders here at Lafayette. The other one's Ben, you'll meet him here in a second. I'm just creating this video series to sort of get some basic things down that'll really help us day zero. Should be pretty fun to go through, and I feel like it'll help you guys a lot, so yeah.
Hi everyone, this is Ben Koopmans, your other section leader this year. I'm a senior here at LHS, and my instrument of choice, the tenor drums. But for now, I'm going to hand you over to Preston.
So straight off the bat, I think what is really going to help us is just getting a good and consistent practice. Practice is pretty much the only way you're going to find yourself really improving. And I know it sucks, but the way I like to think about it is there are definitely some times where you're just, sitting on the couch, chilling on your phone for about 15 to 20 minutes. And a year from now, you won't remember that at all. But the progress you make if you spent that time practicing is going to allow you to achieve greatness in things that you will remember, that'll mean something for you. So even if it's just like 20-30 minutes a day, that's a good consistent practice. I personally do a little bit more, but 30 minutes a day is a good place to start. And you could even split that up. 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the afternoon, 10 at night. It's a breeze, really. Shouldn't really be too much of an issue there. Another thing that I think is good to start is a practice journal. I have mine right here. It's quite the big thing. I just have pieces of paper and like a clip at the top. Basically, we're going to try and utilize our practice as much as possible. Now, this is helpful because basically you could be doing a 30-minute practice session, but if you utilize and max it out as much as you can get an hour's worth out of it. But also vice versa, if you do, let's say, 2 hours of practice, but you're not really focusing on anything, you're just kind of playing around, you're basically you could be getting like 15 minutes worth of practice. It's all about the quality of the practice session. So something I like to do with just the practice journal is anything I notice that is weird about my playing in general, write it down, and you can keep track of that over time, like each day. Just write a little entry, rather what exercise it be, something you're doing, anything that feels off. And I guess that sort of ties in with technique, as we'll talk about further, but like anything that I describe in the technique section that feels a little bit off, go ahead and write it down and start really working on stuff that you find difficult and grind those out, and that'll help you improve a lot. Something just musicians do in general that we have to overcome is we don't like practicing stuff we're bad at. That's a habit that I still have to this day. We like working on stuff we're good at because it's fun to play, but when you realize, oh, maybe like my left hand is struggling a bit more, we don't want to really focus on that, but you have to. It's not going to be as fun to practice it, but in the end, it's going to get us to a spot where you're going to be able to have a lot more fun in band. I like to think of band in general as the more you put in, the more work you're going to put in, the more fun it's going to be. So from the start, like if you start putting in that 30 minutes a day, every day, you're gonna get a lot more fun out of band. You're gonna really enjoy it. But if you kind of just sit around, you're not gonna enjoy band as much. So it's all what you're willing to put in. And I know this group is willing to put in a lot. I think we're gonna do some really great things this year.
Alright, so I'm going to start talking a little bit about marking time. And what marking time is essentially letting your feet help you keep time. They sort of act like a metronome, because when you're out on the field marching, you're not going to have an audible metronome, you're just going to have the visual of a conductor doing their conductor thing. So you're going to have to translate that into a pulse. And so the way we do that is by stepping with our feet as we play. You should be able to feel the pulse in your feet. When you're getting started marking time, you might want to exaggerate your foot hitting the ground just so you can feel it a bit more. So the way to properly start marking time is you're going to start on your left foot on count 1. So 1 and 3 are going to be on your left foot, and 2 and 4 are going to be on your right foot. So it's going to look like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And when you start marking time, you're going to have your feet out, heels together at a 45-degree angle, something like that. And when you start, on count 1, you're going to bring your left foot facing forward, and on count 2, you're going to bring your right foot facing forward so that they're now parallel and you're stepping straight forward instead of stepping like this. You don't want to mark time like this. You want to have your feet nice and straight, close together, parallel. So if I were to lead in with a metronome, it would look like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And at this point, you'd be playing whatever you're playing. Maybe it's eights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you're just letting your feet step along with the metronome so that you can feel it in your body. And what you want to do with this is line the motion of your hands up with the feeling of the beat created in your feet. And that's what's going to help you keep time while you're on the field marching. So if I want to stop marking time, what I'm going to do to get back to that 45-degree angle is on count 4, I'm going to bring my right foot out, and then on the downbeat, I'm going to bring my left foot out. So here's what this is going to look like stopping. Band, halt, 4, 1. And now we're back where we started and we can do it all again.
Let's say you're starting at your practice session, got off your phone, now you're ready to play on the drum bit. So always have a metronome, rather it be on your phone. I have a physical met, totally not necessary. There are free apps on your phone that you can get, but you always need to practice the metronome. It's going to help build up a sense of time, and it's a great tool to help you practice. I'll explain how we can utilize this in a great way. So gonna do your warm-up. Let's say we're just working on eighths. Turn your met on, but find a tempo that's comfortable for you at eighths. Some might come into mind, and speed it down like 20 or 30 beats per minute. So like I'm starting here at 90. At probably 90 or 80 is probably going to be a good tempo for you guys to start. Crank it out a lot, and once you get 3 perfect runs of it, which is hard, 3 perfect consecutive runs, then you can up the tempo by like 5 to 10 beats per minute. Rinse and repeat, do the same until you get to a fast tempo. That's going to help you. That's pretty much the best way you can practice. It's kind of like blunt, simple to the point, but if you do that over and over again and you get those 3 consecutive runs that are perfect in every single way and form, it's going to help you. Especially starting slow. Starting slow is going to be great for us because if you start really, really slow, you're going to notice some problems and you're like, well, I could play this better when I could do it faster. No, you can't. The thing is, those problems still exist at a faster tempo. It's just you're glossing over them. You're not noticing them. So some small things might not be able to read as big on a higher level. And those small things are going to add up. Once you start playing it really fast, you're gonna max out and not gonna know why you aren't able to play it that much fast. It all starts from when it's slow. If you can't play it slow, you can't play it fast. So if you want to play it fast and you like having fun playing it fast, get ready to crank it out while it's slow, because that's pretty much the only way you're gonna do it. If I notice anything in my hands, like after I'm done with this practice session, or like each exercise in general, legatos, eights, taps, I just start something in my practice journal, right? Taps, eighths, whatever. What am I noticing in my hands? What tempos am I maxing out on? What tempos am I beginning? And if you do this, you'll start noticing, like, each day you're getting a little bit better. And that's all that really matters. I'm not like, you can practice a lot if you want to, but what really matters is practice consistency. You can practice 3 hours in one day and only do that once a week, and it's not going to be that great. What would be much better is 30 minutes a day, every single day. And it's not going to be much time. Like I said, 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the afternoon, and 10 minutes in the evening. That's fine. As long as you're on the drum, getting some time in, a consistent practice schedule is what you need. 30 minutes a day is a good minimum, and as long as it's consistent, you're going to see improvement. Now, of course, if you want to see improvement faster, you're going to start upping that time up. I personally do somewhere around 2 to 3 hours a day, but I'm also insane. I'd say like 30 minutes to an hour a day is going to be great. Also, just in general, this is a good caveat to listen to. If you ever feel like you're playing and during your practice you start feeling pain, not like chop building where it feels like your muscles are burning, that's good. That means you're building, you're going to be able to play faster. But if you feel like physical pain, like a sharp pain in your wrists or your fingers, put down the sticks, step away from the drum for a few hours, maybe a day or two, depending on how bad it is, because that is a sign that you are tensing up, not using the natural sort of movement of the stick properly, and that can lead to injuries like tendonitis and carpal tunnel in the future. So if you ever feel like that happens to you, set the sticks down, take a break from the drum, and come back at it with a much more relaxed approach. The more relaxed, the better, pretty much.
Something I'd like to introduce you all to while I'm on the topic of tenor drums is the playing zone. So, with a variety of different drums like tenor drums, timpani, any tom drum, there's going to be a specific zone that you want to play the drum in so that you get the right sound. And hopefully the audio on my camera will help you get an understanding of the difference in sound between playing in the right zone and playing in the wrong zone. Many would think that the right place to hit this drum would be the middle, which makes sense just because most of you have likely been taught on snare, and on snare it is indeed the right place to hit, right in the middle. But on drums like the tenors and other toms and timpani-like drums, the right place to play is closer to the rim. These drums are nice because they have a little black ring around the area where you want to play. It's going to be anywhere from maybe an inch off of this black ring inside. So it's going to sound more like this. And hopefully you can hear the difference. You can hear that you're getting more of the tone of the drum rather than just the drummy sound. You can kind of hear the note that the drum is tuned to. So here's the middle, and here's the playing zone. You can definitely hear it resonating a lot more with the right note. And here it is on some other drums like drum 1 versus... It's less pronounced on drum 1, but maybe you can hear it a little bit, and also on drum 2. That's the middle, and that's the playing zone. And what doesn't matter is the side of the drum that you play on. It's going to sound the same if you play it on the left or the right. So, say you're moving between drums 1 and 2. It's going to be easiest to go from the right side of drum 2 to the left side of drum 1. But if you're moving between drum 4 and drum 2, it's going to be easier to stay on the left side of drum 2 and then the right side of drum 4. So it doesn't necessarily matter which area of the playing zone you play in, it's just that you're closest to the outside. So hopefully you understand the playing zones of tenor drums a little bit better now.
Alright, so some pretty general technique stuff. I know a lot of us have a snare practice pad at home, so this will be some good things to work on. Even if like you're going in pit, all of these things are going to be helpful. But for snare drum specifically, Lafayette we play with match grip, which you guys already know. Left hand and the right hand look the same. I personally play with traditional, and that's what I'm going to be playing in this video. If you don't know it, don't try and replicate it, because it's a whole nother thing. So I just personally like playing with it, and the competitive marching that I go into requires traditional grip. But don't try and replicate me if you don't know, basically. So a really good thing I like to do, shake out your hands. Good ground zero for technique. Then sort of just put them up at playing position and relax your hands totally. This is how you should feel 100% of the time when you're at the drum. There's not one instance in one note where it should feel tensity all the way up and down the arm to your fingertips. That goes in both hands. That tensity is going to basically make you plateau at some point. What I mean is, you're going to get better, and then you're going to reach this gap, and you're not going to be able to get better. That's because your technique is holding you back. So basically, we want to start from square one with a good technique so that we can just keep on getting better. So try and make it so that you're not gripping the stick hard. You shouldn't feel any tensity in your fingers. You're holding the stick, you know you can control it, but you're not pushing down anywhere on the thumb, on the fingers, and the top. It's all very uniform. It's contact, but it's not pressure. And you want to feel that all the way throughout the stroke too. And same goes for the left. You know, just whatever you play, no matter what you play, your hand should feel relaxed, your arm should feel relaxed. And now we can start building up some height definitions now that we got that sort of set out. So on snare drum and tenor and bass, we have a height definition like mezzo piano, mezzo forte, forte, and all of that, but we also like to define it off of height. So the lowest tempo we will play is piano, and that's going to be 3-inch height. Now, when we say the inches, we're not physically going to get a measuring tape and check if it's perfect. It's more so angles, and you're going to learn it by kind of seeing what angle it is. 3 inches, the stick, the match height it reaches is going to be parallel to the drum. And at this point, my hand's completely relaxed as before, and we're rotating from the wrist, only the wrist at this height. Just a small little movement. And try and see if you can replicate this motion too. Try and see if you can replicate this, where you can see it's kind of like a push-pull motion, where like my wrist is kind of going down a bit, and this is going up. I'm using the wrist, but it's all just very naturally moving. I'm just doing whatever the stick guides me to. Same goes for the left. You're playing match, so. And the next height would be mezzo piano, or 6 inches. That's going to be 22.5 degrees above parallel, so about right here. This is, once again, all wrist still. Same with the left. 6 inches. Next height is going to be 9 inches, and that's going to be another 22.5 degrees up. And this will be the max height that we use wrist at. A great way to tell if you're playing a good 9 is that you only are using your wrist, and it still feels comfortable to play. So it still feels comfortable to play right here using only wrist. That's a good 9 inches or mezzo forte. Now, above this height, we're going to start incorporating more arm and just the full range of motion besides the wrist. And that's going to be forte and fortissimo, which is going to be 12 inches. 12 inches, you're doing the same thing, you just play like a 9, but start incorporating a little bit of an arm bounce. That's a good 12-inch stick height or forte. So we're moving that up and down. The arm's kind of moving up and down like that. Now, fortissimo is going to be what we call vertical. As the name entails, the stick height is going to be vertical to the drum. There's going to be a lot more arm, and you're probably not going to be able to play that fast when you play vertical. But this is how we're going to get a lot of sound, and us as marching percussionists, we're very lucky. We get to hit the drum very hard, which is fun. But especially at these heights, keep in mind all that basic technique stuff, you know. You're letting the stick go where it wants to go, and you're not restricting it. You're throwing it down naturally. And the arm should feel, we describe it as a weight. So notice if you tense up your arm, it feels light, like you can move it really easily. relax it. It feels like it has this weight to it. That's what we want. That weight is going to help get a louder sound. Like, I'm not even trying. I'm not like cranking it out with the wrist, which is really bad, by the way. I'm just kind of throwing it down, and we're getting a loud sound out of that. Another basic thing is just the stroke types, you know. So you got rebound strokes. Stick starts one place, ends at the same spot. Rebound. Then you have downstrokes. Stick starts one place, ends down. Upstroke. Stick starts one place, ends up. You can just do a basic exercise of like rebounds. You can just keep doing that, and then downs, just like quarter notes on a mat, then up. So like taps is going to help with that idea a lot. But remember, during all of this, if any certain spot, no matter what point throughout the stroke, it might be like, oh, I notice on my upstrokes, I like to tense up the back of my arm. That's where you got to slow it down, try and erase that habit, and then you can speed it back up again. That's going to help you a lot to be able to play it faster. If you guys, of course, have any questions about like what your hand should look like, or you can shoot me videos anytime you want. I'll be able to help you. If you're noticing any sensations that you don't know if are good or bad, send them to me, and I'll be able to help you. But just in general, if you feel any tensity that derives from just sitting here at set position when your hands are relaxed, if you feel anything different than this when you're playing, you're going to try and do anything you can just to replicate this feeling, because in general, that's what's going to help you in the end. So that's some basic technique stuff.
Alright, so now that you guys know a little bit more about marking time and tenor drum playing zones, I'm going to be running through eighths just to demonstrate that for you guys. So here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Now I just want to go over and apply that sort of what we're talking about to eighths, kind of bringing the whole big picture together. Now, eighths is a great exercise. It's boring, but I'm telling you, I still do this every single day. I still practice eighths probably for 20 minutes every single day, every day. You know, it's something that it's the very basic foundation of percussion, and if you can't get this right, it's going to be difficult to add in sort of the harder things. So what I would do, turn your med on, maybe like 90 beats per minute. Start at piano, 3 inches. You know, and so on. I would repeat that 3 times, bring it up to 6 inches. Play eighths at 6 inches 3 times. Bring it up to 9 inches, play eighths at 9 inches 3 times, and then bring it up 12, and then vertical. And then you can increase the tempo from there if you want. I like doing a slow tempo, sort of medium paced tempo, and a fast paced tempo. And that's all going to be subjective to where you are at as a percussionist. And we're going to be releasing a video in the upcoming day as well, just sort of like a play on track that you guys will be able to work on eighths with us. But that's sort of a basic rundown of how to apply both of those things. Hey, what's up, y'all? I just wanted to add that you guys can message me anytime. I'm down to do lessons on like the practice pad for you. I'm willing to help you out, rather you have questions about marimba, snare, any instrument whatsoever. If you want to schedule a lesson, message me or group me. I will totally be down to set something up, work something out to help you get there. So yeah, hope you guys found whatever was in this video helpful. If you have any questions, message me or Ben about it, Mr. Long about anything. Yeah, and stay tuned. We're going to be releasing more videos like this soon. See you guys.